Hello, boys and girls. I wanted to go over this solve and share. I know I posted a short, starter lesson just to see if you guys can kind of do it on your own. Some of you did get it, some of you did do it correctly, some of you did have some difficulties, which is fine. It's the beginning of a lesson. You guys have never done this before. So if you did not get it correct, it's perfectly fine. I don't want you to get worried. I don't want you to get upset. We are going to go over it. Si ustedes no lo hicieron bien la primera vez, está bien. Nosotros lo vamos a repasar. Es algo que estamos empezando y no quiero que se preocupen o que se asusten que lo hicieron mal. All right. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do cubes. Lo primero que vamos a hacer es hacer cubes. Estamos mirando las palabras importantes, los números importantes. So we're looking at the numbers that are important. We're circling them. We're underlining the question. You guys know how to do cubes. And that's what we're doing first. Then we're looking, you see that we have our two regions. They are separate from each other. They are not together. It's just there so that you can show two different ways. Now, for the first one, I'm going to divide it the same way that I divided the first example earlier. This is one part, because remember, we're dividing it into 6 equal parts. If there are 12 smaller units, and we divide 12 smaller units by 6, it's going to give us 2. That means there are 2 units for each equal part. So this is our third part. This is our fourth part. We're about to do it now. So recuerdan, si son 12 partes más pequeños y lo dividimos en 6 partes iguales, eso quiere decir que cada parte que está dividido va a tener 2 units. Va a tener 2 unit squares. If this were a cake and we cut it into 12 pieces and there were 6 of us that wanted to share the cake, each of us would get 2 pieces. Si esto fuera un bizcocho y tuvieras 12 partes cortados, cada uno de nosotros fuéramos a recibir 2 partes para que sea justo, para que todas las partes sean iguales. So that it's fair and that all the parts are equal. So it's 6 equal parts for each group. There are 6 equal parts, and in each part, or in each group, there are going to be 2 unit squares. So each part has 2 unit squares. Okay. While I finish this up, while I finish writing this, I want you guys to think about, now having heard what I said, how would you change the second region? How would you still have 6 equal parts but represented in a different way? How would you show it in a different way? So, en esta, ¿cómo podrán representar 6 partes iguales, pero de una manera diferente? Remember, it has to be 6 equal parts. So we have 12 total unit squares. And we're going to do this differently. We are going to divide it horizontally. So we have one part. Two parts. Three parts. Tenemos tres partes iguales. Four parts. That doesn't look really equal. Let me erase it. This is five parts. And we now have six parts. So each part has 2 unit squares. It's still 6 parts, it's just divided differently. So we have 6 equal parts, and in each equal part, there are 2 unit squares. So if you cut the cake differently, even though you cut it differently, it would still equal the same amount per part. You would still have 2 unit squares per part. So aunque lo cortaste diferente, como quiera vas a tener las partes iguales. Va a tener 2 unit squares por parte. Okay. While I finish this up now, I would like you to think about if, let's say the region were not a rectangle. Let's say it was shaped differently. Let's say it was shaped in a way that wasn't, as you see here, perfectly even, right? Let's say it was shaped differently. So I'm going to create a shape that's different. Keeping this in mind, keeping this question in mind. How are the parts of the regions alike? How are they different? I want to make a different kind of region. And I want you guys to tell me if you think that that region can be divided equally. I'm also going to make a little mistake and hopefully you guys will catch it. Let's see. I'm going to start making this now. It looks very different from the rectangle, right? Okay, so we're going to start coloring this in. I'm going to see if you guys can figure out what the mistake is. All right, so this is the first part of the 6 equal parts. I'm going to color it in. So this is one part. This is 2 parts, or the second part. So we have one yellow part, one red part. We have one green part. So lo estamos dividiendo y lo estamos enseñando con los colores. Ahora mismo tenemos 3 partes. Esta es la cuarta. This is my 4th part. Did you guys notice what the mistake is yet? Did you notice? Did you notice? Looky, looky, looky. I'm just going to keep coloring until you tell me. Okay. I know some of you have it already. I know some of you figured it out. Okay, so if you didn't realize the mistake, if you didn't notice it, it's missing 2 unit squares. Each region should have 12 unit squares, and I only did 10. I'm trying to make sure that you guys are awake for me. Okay, so we're going to add the last 2. So we have 1 part, 2 part, 3 parts, 4 parts, 1 yellow part. The second part is red. The third part is green. The 4th part is blue. The 5th part is purple. And the 6th part is going to be black. So we have 6 equal parts. Each part has 2 unit squares. It looks completely different. 2 unit squares for each part. It looks completely different from the other 2 regions that we just looked at, but it still can be divided into 6 equal parts. I want you guys to take a minute and think about another way you could make a region and whether or not it could have those 6 equal parts. We need to always think about food. Think about a cake being shared. Would you want to get a smaller piece or less than an equal amount? I doubt it. Make sure you answer this question, guys.